Pratik Anand, a fourth year student at DTU and a core team member of TSC DTU. Today we are interviewing Akashdeep. He is a DTU graduate from the class of 2020 and has secured an offer from Amazon Berlin. We will talk about his college life, consider the importance of development as well as data structures and algorithms. We will walk through his various internships and learn more about him. So let's get started.
So today, let's start with your whole journey throughout your college life. How you started off, why you joined various tech societies, and what you looked out for.
Okay, so I should start with my societies because the first thing I did in college was join a tech society. So basically, in every in engineering college I've seen, mostly in the first month of the joining, there are various societies that conduct interviews and various they call you to basically join them and be a part of a group where you can learn and grow along with other mates from
Yeah,
your batch
yeah,
in under the guidance of seniors, so it can help you a lot with that, and also it gives you a chance to interact with seniors, so that is very helpful in the first few years of college.
yeah,
Because as a new student, most people do not know what part to take, what exactly which domain to work in, and
yeah.
what domains are even there in the given stream. So they just have done PCM and then they have directly come to college and they want to explore, and the societies kind of give a good platform to do that.
So basically, teach
So
you various fields, various possibilities that there are, and similar things, right?
yeah,
So apart from that, what are some negative traits that you have seen in various societies? There are positives and there are negatives, obviously. I believe that.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
So what do you think about that?
So in the case of some societies, it comes down to the profit they might earn. So that
Yeah.
can be a big hindrance. Even as a student, your parents would not be comfortable with spending a small amount of money on a society they have not even heard about.
Yeah, that's true.
So that can be a big hindrance in some societies. Apart from that, if you term that as investing, it can be a good thing, but sometimes I've seen that people invest 1,000, 2,000 rupees, and the societies are inactive about after a month. So basically, that money goes to waste. So there is no point of joining societies in which people are not active at all,
That's
in
right.
which you do not
Yeah,
get the chance to learn, grow, or even talk to people. So you'll
right,
see societies making WhatsApp groups and then getting dissolved in about 1 or 2 or 3, even 3 months.
right.
So it is a big factor. It is a big negative factor, but it also has the positives. So you have to be really it is a, I can say it is a very crucial stage to choose which society you should be part of, or should you be a part of any society at all in your college.
Right. So freshers are usually they don't have a lot of concrete ideas about what path they should take and what exactly they should explore. So you believe that societies do play quite some role over there. But then again,
Yeah,
we should know how to basically invest your time as well as money in various societies so that you don't like get so that you can maximize your net result in the end, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so finally it boils down to what exactly you want to do.
yeah,
The society may be interested in doing some projects. Sometimes you might not be interested in those kind of projects, but something that, yeah, no one in that college has done, or you can say around 1 or 2 people are working in the domain of cybersecurity. We can say as an example, there
yeah,
is a huge amount of potential in the cybersecurity field in India, but we haven't seen many people do any kind of work in that. So there even my juniors had approached me to guide them in the field of cybersecurity, but I had no idea, and no one in our society did too. So it was quite difficult to make them understand that we won't be able to help them with that, and they should seek some experts advice who has already been working in this field for quite a bit of time, and they can approach them through LinkedIn, and there are various other social platforms from which they can get a good guidance for the field
Right.
they are in.
So, like you said about what interest people have, what interest students have, they should try to explore them with various societies, with various courses, with various people on
Yeah,
LinkedIn, etc.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
why should, I mean, again, as freshers or as college students, people are often, they don't know why they should proceed with a career in CS. Some people may not have an interest in computer science, some people may have an interest in CS, yet both of them may want to take up career in CS for various reasons, like growing job
Hmm.
opportunities or for money or for any other thing. So, what do you
Yeah,
have to say
definitely.
about that?
Okay, so I've seen that the stream they have chosen as their major does not play a
Yeah.
major role in what exactly they want to do finally with a degree. So the job opportunities they may take might widely differ from what they had done during the degree, what they
Right.
had studied during the degree. So as an example, I've seen my friends, one of my friends from engineering physics branch had joined Amazon as an engineer, and he is working there since around July.
Right.
And he was never interested in the physics part, but due to the rank, he had to go through the process, and he got the engineering physics branch. And then in the upcoming years, he had done GSOC, and he had done other various other open source programs, and finally he had landed an internship with Amazon totally, and then he converted into a PPO.
Yeah.
So there are people, so it is possible that you might be hindered by the branch from the college itself, but if you want to pursue anything other from the branch, if you make the effort in the direction, you will definitely get some results.
Yeah. So next up, I think we should talk about your various internships. You have done internships at Camp K12, at Western Digital, and at Paytm and Coding Blocks, right?
Yeah.
So what did you learn from all these internships?
Yeah, so I'll start with my first internship. My first internship was with Coding Blocks because I had done a course with them. So I knew some people who were already teaching there, and I had asked them directly that whether there was any opening for any internship, and basically through social interaction, I got my first internship.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in that internship, I was working on their coding platform HackerBlocks and CodingBlocks.online, and I had done some. I had learned a lot about backend and done some CSS changes in that platform. Basically, this first internship was kind of a good stepping stone for me because I got to see what all technologies are used in the industry directly.
Right.
So it gave me a good insight on what I had been doing in courses, in Udemy courses, in Coursera courses, and what exactly
Yeah.
industry implements. And you might see there would be a huge difference on what the courses are teaching you and what exactly the industry is doing.
Yeah.
So it
So
is very
basically,
important to get in. Yeah. So it
yeah.
is very important to get into the industry and see what exactly is happening.
Yeah. To bridge the gap between courses knowledge and the real knowledge.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what about the other
So my
internships?
Yeah, so my second internship was not quite an internship, but it was with Paytm. It was a program where we had to build an open source product with along with a team, and basically we had to showcase
Yeah.
it to Paytm, and basically which would be used for digital enhancement of India. So it was
Yeah.
under the Build for India program. So we had built an online code pairing tool so that
Mm.
students could practice mock interviews and basically learn from each other how exactly they can better their coding style, and how
Right.
they can better their algorithmic skills on a one-on-one basis, where they could chat with the other person also, and they could talk with the other person also.
Right.
So in this, we didn't have any technical overview, but the Paytm had assigned a VP who used to help us in design this product in a business perspective. So it helped a lot to exactly see how the business wants to see a product and versus what technically developers want to see a product to grow into.
Right. So you learn more
Uh,
about the business and the technical aspect from this one.
Yeah, so it was a quite it was a middle ground, I would say.
Yeah.
The My third internship was with Camp Kittle, and it was a quite major internship in my career, because here I had built a product from scratch to production level, end to end, along with one another person. So it was a quite big learning experience for me, and I have also got a very good idea and how what exactly a development job for a software developer can be on a
Right.
day-to-day basis.
Right.
So I had worked on the platform for around 3 to 4 months to basically develop the platform. So it was a AI. It is called the AI Playground platform, where students can basically code their own chatbots in a very interactive way. So this
Right.
platform was designed towards K-12 students, which we can say are in fourth or fifth. So
Okay.
children that age are able to build their own chatbots interactively and basically use them, and basically they can export these chatbots to their own websites.
Right.
So it was quite exciting to work with small students and see what exactly they want out of the product. And this product is right now being used by around 10,000 plus students,
Yeah.
and it it basically helped me better understand how a product works end to end.
Right.
And this highly impacted my CV, because a running product which people are actually using can be very beneficial when you are talking in interviews, because we would be working in the industry, would be working on products which actually people would use, the clients would use, the customers
Yeah.
would use. So it helps the company understand better that you know what exactly you would be working towards,
Right.
what type of quality you would be working towards, what type of code quality, what type of efficiency in the product you would be working towards.
Basically, you can show them the end result, what you have already achieved, what you are already able to deliver, and they can build upon it. They can guess what your skills are and how good you are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess Western Digital was your third year internship.
Yeah, so this internship was for my campus. So on campus I had been recruited in around August 2018 to work
Right.
in June and July 2019.
Yeah.
So here I was working on the uh, on their data platform, where exactly the platform was a distributed system platform, which they were through which they were providing customers a very efficient way of storing their own data.
Right.
And this was not small data, it was petabytes of data.
Okay.
So I got a yeah,
Yeah.
so I got a really good insight on how the corporate industry works,
Hmm.
and how exactly I also got a good insight into how pipelining is done in software development, and how automation is done, how how the process has been compared to write code, and this how relevant this process has been becoming in the industry, and
Yeah.
also how easy the life of developers becomes when they try to build a good infrastructure for the product.
Okay. So I
So
guess
they were
there are.
good
Yeah.
amount. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Please
there
go
were
on.
good amount of code reviews, and basically you could directly understand what kind of quality they were trying to achieve
Yeah.
from the product.
Yeah. So basically, from all these internships, you learned both about your coding styles, your coding practices, which are followed in the business world, as well as you improve your own skills side by side. So, but you have done like quite a few internships. Normally, people do one or two, and they then
Yeah.
proceed towards placements or towards future education, higher education, that sort of stuff. So, what do you think? Should students focus on getting more and more internships, more and more exposure, or should they, like, as you said, do more courses and do more certification courses or anything like that to improve the knowledge first?
So my basic motivation towards internship was building my algorithmic skill and building
Yeah,
my coding skills.
yeah,
So algorithmic skills are usually built to by working on new products, or they can be built by practicing competitive programming or algorithmic problems on websites like Codecourses and CodeChef.
yeah,
The other part of it comes to coding style. So people can prefer to learn it during their college life, or companies basically in the first 1 or 2 months try to train you on how exactly you should write your code and how you, so there is a focused training given on this.
Mm.
So people try to divide it either in the so if they do it before, it is well and good. If they do it afterwards also, it is not an issue.
Yeah.
So the main point boils down to its algorithmic skills.
Right.
So so basically, I would prefer that students try to get a blend of both internships, and they also try to focus on algorithmic problems which are not focused in internships. So uh, problems like DP, trees, graphs are not usually focused in their internships, because these data structures have been internally implemented through various databases and various protocols, but you might not get to use them on a day-to-day basis on your in
Yeah.
your internship.
Yeah.
So practicing these through the platforms, and doing coding internships and learning about different kind of algorithms which are being used on a production level, can this blend can help a student learn a lot about what they are getting into.
Right. So I guess we can proceed towards your hackathon. Just like your internship experiences, you again have achieved quite a lot in various hackathons. So can you tell me about how you proceed with the work in hackathons, how you come up with an idea, how you pitch your idea, and how you work on it?
Okay, so hackathon is not so basically hackathon only focuses upon the ideas and how
Yeah.
you work towards upon the idea. There is nothing more important in a hackathon more than your idea,
Yeah.
because you have 24 hours. If you even devote 4 to 5 hours towards the idea, which most people don't, you will get a very good problem statement to work upon,
Yeah.
and basically you can focus on what problems people are actually facing. So for me, getting an idea was more on so more was like a survey purpose. So when we used to get some kind of topics through hackathons, we tried to talk to the people who were already there in the industry, or the people who were students from that side, so that we could know what problems they actually faced and what solutions we can come up with. And we used to brainstorm them, and then we try to develop on any kind of solution which can be made possible through the problem statement.
Yeah.
So getting a real world problem statement helped us a lot during these hackathon phases, and also helped us win a lot, because we we understood the problem ourselves, and we tried to think about the problem and think about the solution in the shoes of basically in their shoes,
Yeah.
what exactly we can do to make our problem easy.
Yeah. So
So, uh,
basically,
so
thinking about what the mentors or what the judges would want to see, and trying to implement that.
yeah, not on only a mentor or a judge's perspective, but on a perspective where people would actually want to use that product.
Okay, the end users as well.
Yeah, basically a end user perspective. We used to think from the end user perspective, so that
Yeah.
if we are investing 24 to 48 hours on a product, we should actually get something out of it, so that which people can actually be using in the future, which we can develop further in the coming days. So because everyone knows that 24 to 48 hours is not enough to develop any kind of product.
Yeah.
You can most likely reach a prototype or a MVP maximum to maximum.
Yeah.
So going on and developing a product from the MVP stage to the product stage, end user happiness is a good measurement for what a product should be and what you should think upon.
Yeah.
So, from the judges or mentors perspective, we used to think in a business perspective. So once we know what exactly product we want to build, we want to pitch it as a startup product, because the judges or mentors always expect a product to what kind of revenue the product would generate, what kind of user base the product can get, and
Mm.
why would anyone want to use that product.
Right.
So we in a presentation or in our demo, we also always used to focus what exactly business this product can generate for the
Right.
user.
Right. So we have talked about your hackathons, your experience in internships, and the similar things. Now, while preparing for internships, students have to study DSA, at least data structures and algorithms, quite well, because those are the fundamentals of various, those are the fundamentals of computer science, in fact. So, what are some tips
Mhm.
for that?
So I would say data structure algorithms is the base of doing any kind of work
Yeah,
in the computer science field.
yeah,
So give it your sorting algorithms, which are being used in any kind of project you make, or give
yeah,
it the search algorithms. These are definitely used in some kind of way in any kind of product.
right.
So getting a good base is very much important, and if we try to devote a good I could say we can devote around 50% time of 50% time on learning new technologies and 50% time on devoting it to your algorithmic skills.
Right.
Because if you know 10 types of technology but you do not know how to code well in them, then your product can be useless. If we say that Google was 10 times slower than it actually is, people would not prefer to use it right now. So
Right.
skills would play a very huge role on what an software engineer would actually do, and that's why companies try to look upon uh, focus upon more in the algorithmic side rather than the project side.
Yeah.
That is the only reason that happens. So I would say that practicing it from we can definitely learn these uh, algorithmics algorithmic problems from different kind of platforms like GFG, LeetCode, and we can always practice it on. There are many competitive programming platforms and also interview practice platforms available online.
Yeah.
Personally, LeetCode is my favorite platform because it is quite a user curated platform, and contributions are heavily done by users. And basically, they try to explain the problem in the way that they would want to solve it during the interview and how they solve it during the interview. So
Yeah.
it gives you a good perspective on how you should approach the problem, because mostly the people who post there have been selected in major big companies. So the company definitely must have liked the approach they would have taken, and it
Yeah.
would definitely help you and get a good understanding on what the company would exactly be looking in from you when you try to approach the question.
Yeah. So just like you said, not only is the solution important, but the approach to towards that solution is also important. So how important is that particular approach? Like, are there cases when a particular approach will just not get you through the door, or are there when a wrong solution but a great approach, a great way of thinking might in fact get you fetch you brownie points for the interviewer? So do such situations arise?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there have been interviews where I have not been able to get the most efficient approach, but
Yeah.
the approach I was taking was helpful enough for the interview to know that I was going in the right direction.
Hmm.
Even I might not get the right approach, but the way of thinking I have, after some amount of time, I might reach the right approach.
Right.
So this way of thinking definitely helps the interviewer understand, and thinking out loud is a must in any kind of interview. So
Right.
so that would definitely help the interviewer understand what exactly you are thinking right now, how right you are, how wrong you are, what approach you're taking, how close are you to the right approach. And sometimes if you're lucky, the interview might also be impressed by what approach you took, and they might even pass you to the next one, because this
Okay.
has actually happened to me.
Yeah, because of the approach, of the particular approach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it is possible that the problem you are given right now can actually take you around 1.5 hour to solve if you are medium level coder,
Yeah.
and but the time allotted to you is around 30 to 45 minutes. So it is sometimes not even po- uh, physically possible to
Yeah.
exactly reach
To
the
get
right
the
solution.
precise solution, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so that at that times the approaches are the only thing that can help you pass the round.
Yeah.
So thinking out loud and trying to find different kind of approaches, discussing it with your interviewer, and trying to brainstorm well always helps gain you brownie points in any kind of interview.
Okay. So earlier we had talked about not just DSA but development side as well. You mentioned development. It is important to
Yeah.
balance those two. So how
Yeah.
particularly would you balance those two? Like there are people who just do DSA and competitive programming all day, and there on the other hand, again on the other extreme, there are people who just do development in various fields. So how would you balance those two?
Mhm. As I discussed before, I feel a blend of two is definitely important
Yeah,
because at one point of time you would have to learn those algorithmic skills if you are into development. So we can take an example of the Flipkart search bar.
yeah,
So at one time point of time you would have to learn how the search algorithm actually works and which search algorithm you should use.
yeah,
And also in the other side, if you know the search algorithm, at one point of time you would have to learn how to develop the search bar, how to efficiently do the search queries, and how to manage the given queries in the backend.
right,
So a blend of two I feel is quite important of a computer science graduate to understand what exactly the industry looks into a good software developer in these days.
right. Uh,
Because you
so
would see in even top companies,
yeah,
there are both developers and both data structure algorithmic experts going into those companies. But you would see that both kind of but you would see both kind of ends have some kind of experience in the other side also. So if you
yeah,
are very good with development, you definitely have some kind of experience with the algorithmic side.
right.
So companies definitely prefer a blend of both. So because they would have to invest a lesser amount of time training those people
Right.
to start developing with and helping with them with the platform they're working upon.
Okay. So as a student, they usually like don't, I mean, even if they know that they have to study both these things, they usually just have a one track mind and they go on continuing with one particular field. So how, what would you suggest to those students? How should they like spread their
Mhm.
mind or spread their focus on these two things? Because again, focus is a limited resource. It is important to factor that in as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I would say that I feel that anyone who goes into the development side definitely has to learn some kind of algorithmic
Yeah,
skills,
yeah,
but has because otherwise they won't be able to implement any kind of module or product they're working
right,
upon. They won't be
right.
able to implement it. So because when we are talking about this, we will interviews in the interviews would definitely talk about your resume in your interview. So they would definitely ask how did you implement this kind of platform.
Hmm.
So at one point of time they would have to understand what exactly the code has been doing.
Yeah,
So when you are learning development, you get a hint bit of algorithmic skills. But on the
right.
other hand, I've seen people who are very good at DSA struggle a bit while joining the companies and trying to get into the development side
Right.
because it is completely new to them and they take a good amount of time. And this and as a person, this might not be good for a career perspective in the initial phase because the manager would want you to be as resourceful as possible and as efficient as possible.
Right.
So if you take 2 months into learning the development side and other people take 1 month, so the people who are taking 1 month would definitely be preferred by your manager
Right.
rather than the people who take 2 months. So
Right.
that's why a blend is, I feel, is very very important
Hmm.
in this field.
Yeah. So, talking about this blend, like, there are various, again, this blend can be made with various development tools. It could be like you could be doing Android development, iOS development, basically mobile development, or you could be doing website development, or there are other people who focus on AI and machine learning or in data science.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
again, we have emerging technologies including VR and mixed reality, as well as various other
Mhm.
things. So in your opinion, which has the greatest future prospect?
So if we are looking into the different kind of technology, you would see different kind of people working in different companies on it.
Yeah,
So talking about the emerging technologies like AR, VR, and AI/ML.
yeah,
So these kind of problems have there are various startups working on these problems, and there are very experienced people in the top companies who are working on these problems. So looking
Right.
from a job perspective, you would definitely be able to land up, if you are very good, you will definitely be able to land a job in those startups. But reaching to the top companies would be an issue, because it would require a good amount of experience, because usually the people who are working on AI and ML in the top companies are PhDs, and they have done a huge amount of research before even they join the companies.
Right.
And coming back to the website, Android, and other normal uh, day-to-day development tools, which are being used in the industry from long. A lot of companies, even the mid-tier companies, are adopted those tools, and basically they are looking for people who can work on these tools.
Right.
So, in the jobs perspective, for a fresher, if you want to focus on new technologies and want to learn more about it, you can definitely look towards working in a startup. Whereas bigger side of the companies, where the majority, like FANG, would definitely focus on people who know the technologies which are being used in the day-to-day products, like uh, the Android apps, the websites, and the
Right.
data analytics tools.
Right. So yeah, just like you said, there are emerging technologies and there are technologies which have been used since ages, like web and app, and emerging
Yeah,
like AI and all those stuff. So for the emerging
yeah,
technologies, you might need a bit of a higher education or more research or more focus in those areas.
yeah,
But
yeah.
depending on the payoff, which one do you think might give a better return on investment?
I feel at a point, we can see in two scenarios. So
Right.
a person who joins a FANG company right after they graduate, they worked hard for 2 years, they get a promotion, they land at a good pay.
Okay.
On the other side, we can see a person who had done research during their BTech time. They want to go into AI and ML. They do an MS, and then they land into the same company
Right.
with almost a similar pay.
Right.
But the domain would definitely change. So it all finally depends on what domain you want to pursue. But there are some
Right.
domains, like if we are talking about AML, there are some domains a lot of algorithmic skills are definitely involved, and the cutoff is also very high. So these
Hmm.
jobs will pay much higher than the jobs which require normal algorithmic skills, like web development, backend development, Android app
Yeah.
development.
Yeah.
So AI and ML jobs would definitely require a higher amount of research and hence a higher amount of algorithmic skills. So, and the cutoff is also higher, so it would definitely uh, result in a pay gap
Okay.
between a developer who has only done these backend skills and a person who has gone into AI. But regardless, you can definitely in every big company there is a chance you can go into these products and definitely
Right.
increase your pay.
Right.
You can change your positions. So
Basically
it
change
all
your lane,
depends.
your
Finally,
tech
depends
stack.
on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So these big companies give an opportunity to you to dive into any kind of product you want. You just have to talk to your manager. You have to be very open about it, that you want to learn these technologies and want to take up this product, and the manager would definitely try to help you with those
Right.
problems.
Right. So we have talked about various technologies, various tips for data structures and algorithms, as well as the development side as well. Now, you secured your placement at Amazon in Germany, right?
Yeah,
So what was
yeah.
the process you went through and how you achieved this? Because securing an international placement, especially at this time in the middle of COVID
Mm.
crisis, that is exceedingly difficult. So what was your story?
Yeah, yeah. So I would say I was quite lucky in the process when it
Yeah,
began. So my process began around October last year.
right,
I had applied directly on the online portal of Amazon Careers, and
right,
I had got an invitation to give 3 tests back to back. Two of these tests were focused upon the algorithmic side, and one of the tests was focused upon the HR side of the, or the soft skill side, if
right,
you say it that way. So I had cleared these tests, and after that, it took around I will not even 2 months. It took me around 4 to 5 months to get a reply
yeah,
back from them, that my
Yeah.
interview would be happening.
Yeah.
So I got a reply back in around March that I would be
Okay.
having my interviews, but it was still tentative. At that time, COVID spread had just started happening, but it was at the boom in places like Germany.
Yeah.
So I was still very dicey about the situation.
Mm.
It finally happened in the second week of April. I had gone through 4 interviews back to back of 1 hour each.
Yeah.
It focused 30 to 40 minutes was focused upon the algorithmic skills, and 20 minutes around was focused upon the leadership principles,
Yeah.
because Amazon values their leadership principles a lot, and they want any kind of employee there who are joining them to have that kind of leadership principles instilled in them.
Yeah.
So I had gone through that process, and a week after that I got back my results and I was finally selected.
Yeah.
But talking about the international placement side of things, it is very important that you know that the company would be offering a visa sponsorship to you. So
Mm.
most of these roles the company tries to fill are for the local natives, because
Mm.
getting a student from internationally from one place to another is a very costly affair for any kind of company.
Right.
So there are very specific positions which are open for any student, which also have a visa sponsorship being given by the company.
Right.
So you have to make sure that you apply to those specific roles only. Otherwise, you definitely would be wasting your time
Right.
in any. Yeah. So if you want to focus upon your international placements, or if you want to study, you want to work abroad, you should definitely try to get to talk to people who are already working in the company to get to know whether the company offers any kind of international placement opportunities or not. And if they offer so, you can ask them what kind of roles are open for that
Yeah.
and when would they open. You can also ask them that.
Yeah.
Also, a referral definitely helps in getting an interview faster, or even getting an interview in this kind of process, because for these specific roles there are the amount of applications is a very huge number.
Yeah.
So a person who is already working in the company would preferring you would definitely help you uh,
Stand out from the
for the
crowd.
HR shortlisting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, in terms of the difficulty, was it more difficult? Was the level of interview more difficult than your average Amazon interview in India, in say an on-campus interview or something similar?
I would say, given these top companies,
Yeah.
the interview levels almost remain the same in any office. Uh, I, so people had given the interviews for Google USA, and people also had given the interviews for Google Munich, and people had
Yeah.
given the interviews for Google India. The level almost remained the same. Same happened with me. I had talked with my classmates who had given the interview for Amazon India and also had secured a placement there. And I had given the interview there. The level almost remained the same. So these top companies definitely try to level down the process, and so that they can get the same amount of same level of skilled people in the
Right.
workforce.
Right. So, was there any particular reason for you to choose Germany, or you just saw the opening and took it?
When I was talking to my recruiter, there were 2 3 different international places which were being offered to me.
Yeah.
But I found out that out of them, Berlin was the most international city which was being offered. Other cities, I might not have been able to adjust to as an
Right.
international immigrant. So I went with Germany there.
Okay. So basically, on the ease of immigration or
So
ease of
because adjusting in a
integration.
new city is also a very different and
Right.
difficult
Can you repeat that because the audio was cutting out?
yeah. So adjusting to a new country is a yeah. So I was saying that adjusting to a new country is also a very difficult and a very exhausting experience for any kind of individual, because the
Hmm.
culture is different and the food is different and the way of living is different. So you have to be very careful on what exactly culture you would be able to fit with.
Right.
So there were many opportunities which were also available in Japan, but I knew that I won't be able to adjust to the culture with which Japanese people were living in. So I
Right.
tried to go to towards cities uh, which are more inclusive towards the immigrant and which support the immigrant more.
Right.
So various kind of food are already available. Various kind of services are already available. So it makes our life easier initially to start living there.
Yeah. It makes you integrate easy.
Yeah, yeah.
So those are the various technical questions that we had. Apart from that, I would like to ask more about your college life at DTU. How was it, and what was your experience in general?
So my college life at DTU was quite a roller coaster of experience.
Yeah.
Actually, when I started out, I had no idea that I had to go into my computer science background. All I knew that I was good at some kind of algorithmic skills because I had taken up C and C++ in 11th and 12th, and I
Yeah.
felt really good doing solving in many kinds of algorithmic problems.
Right.
So I went into the CS background, but I knew nothing on how to approach and how companies would come, what exactly they would be even asking us.
Right.
So in the first and second year, I had joined societies like IOSD, and there were seniors that would guided me a lot, and I had made friends with a lot of seniors and a lot of classmates as well. And I got to know a lot about how exactly the process works and how what technologies we can work on, what exactly is there present in the industry.
Yeah.
Along with that, I also got to socialize them with them a lot, and I made some lifelong friends also.
Yeah.
So it, yeah, so it kind of helped me a lot to go through the process, and they also helped me understand what kind of questions are asked in mid semester and semester
Yeah.
exams,
Yeah.
how to go about my first year, how to complete your practical files and all, any kind of college stuff. College advice would be if required. I used to directly go to them. So after that, I also got to work with a lot of my juniors, and
Yeah.
I also help them guide through it. And basically, it becomes a really good social group, and you will enjoy a lot with them.
Right. Okay. So is there any particular memorable experience throughout these 4 years that you would like to share with us?
Uh, One of the memorable experiences I had was organizing a tech fest all by
Right.
ourselves.
Right.
So from carrying the whole 60 by 60 poster on your
Yeah.
shoulders to making the participant feel comfortable, arranging the food, it was quite a good 2 day experience, and I got to interact with a lot of people, got to know a lot of stories, a lot of gossip also,
Yeah.
and it helped me get closer to any kind of people who were already there with me,
Okay.
and it helped me make a lot of friends and get to know a lot of people. Actually, I like to socialize a lot and like to know stories of other people, and so it was kind of a very happy place for me, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. So is similar to this question, but in the opposite direction. Is there anything you would like to change about your university life? Any particular experience?
Uh, I would say that given that I could get back any kind of year of my college, I would
Yeah.
like to go back to first and second year and try to. Uh, I had wasted a particular good amount of time during my first and my majority of my second year also,
Yeah.
only focusing upon the college work and not focusing upon developing the algorithmic skills, because I also
Right.
did my first internship at the end of 1.5 years.
Hmm.
So I could have started early and got a good advantage early on, and got to work on many more projects also
Right.
in that matter.
Are there, in coming to an end, are there any specific tips or anything that you would like to say to the students?
So one thing I always like to say to any kind of people who come to advise to me
Yeah.
You should definitely work on your professional side, but you should also enjoy your college life. So balancing them both would definitely help you in the long run.
Yeah.
Because if you try to focus upon your career for the given 4 years, then you focus upon your career in the next upcoming 4 years. After a point of time, you would definitely burn out,
Hmm.
and it would not be a good situation at them, and you would not have any kind of motivation to do any kind of work after that.
Right.
So rather, I try to balance my. So if I'm working around 10 hours a day in the given week, I would try to go out on the weekends, try to party, get to meet with other people, enjoy,
Yeah.
socialize, and
Yeah.
have fun.
Yeah.
So I would like to advise any kind of person who is going through college right now to try to socialize with others and have fun, and also definitely focus upon your career, because both of them are
Hmm.
definitely important. You would remember them for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
because college life is kind of an experience that never goes away from your mind.
Yeah.
I know it is a COVID kind of situation right now, but
Yeah.
we can try our best right now.
To make it possible still.
Yeah, make the best of the situation which is present right now. Yeah.
Right. So I guess that would be all, unless you want to add something or share something.
I think so. I had given a good perspective on
Yeah.
what exactly people can do in the college life, and
Yeah.
if any kind of questions arise, I am definitely there to help any kind of person who wants any kind of advice.